All right, guys, welcome back. And I'm finally excited to say the day has come where we finally, after a long awaited time, after so many years, we finally get Resident Evil 9's reveal at the Summer Games Fest. And it was shocking. It was a huge reveal. They faked us out twice, which made it even crazier. The first one was like a Capcom sale. Then they later in the show they dropped another thing teasing a bunch of stuff from the past like RPD, and then you had the voice actress for Lady D there talking to us, and then she said we had a special message, and they were like, you got to wait a little bit longer to be here in a blink of an eye, which had everybody thinking, oh my god, they just gave us a message that we're not getting it here and we have to wait. And then turns out no, they were being literal. It would be here in a blink of an eye. They dropped it as the final world premiere reveal of the showcase, and there's so much to talk about. So the trailer essentially starts off at a FBI headquarters where you're introduced to our new playable protagonist, which is someone that never in a million years would I have expected something like this, and they dug really deep for this. So this game, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be for the fans, man, because they went deep for some of the stuff in this plot line for this game, and that's because, and what I'm talking about is Grace Ashcroft. Yes, Ashcroft. If you a longtime Resident Evil fan, you played the Outbreak games, you know that Ashcroft is the last name of Alyssa Ashcroft, one of the playable characters, an investigative reporter from Raccoon City, and playable characters in Outbreak, and we're playing as her daughter, Grace Ashcroft. Grace Ashcroft is a new character, and we find out a lot about her from the scene that she's introduced, which I think that's part of what makes that scene really good in this trailer, is that you get to see that she's someone who, when she's working, she's locked in, or when she's focused, she's locked into a point where she's like blocking everything out. She's easily startled. She's clumsy. She's not an experienced person, and she definitely gives off the vibe that she has no experience in the field dealing with anything bioterrorism related. And I think that's what they're going for with her character, because I have my own personal theory about what they plan to do in this game based off rumors and leaks and everything that's come out over the years. And it's pretty simple. It's that I think she's going to be that unexperienced. There's going to be two sides to this. I think there'll be two playable protagonists in this. I think she'll be the unexperienced protagonist that is new to all of this, not necessarily bioterrorism, BOWs, and all that, because we know that stuff exists in the Resident Evil world, but it's going to be the first time that this character, Grace Ashcroft's, put in the actual center of it and having to deal with it and survive on her own. So she'll be like the Ethan Winters of this game, and much like Resident Evil 8 and also 7 with the Not a Hero DLC, we'll probably get a legacy character who's also playable, that is that more experienced people that leans more into the action, and I think that's going to be Leon, because we'll get to it later, but big surprise, they revealed the RPD. They revealed we are going back to a nuked Raccoon City. We are returning to Raccoon City. We got a wide shot of the entire city where the nuke happened, and there's still buildings around, which I know that's probably going to be a bit controversial, because a lot of the other games made it seem like the entire city was wiped out, but in this game, it seems like there's a portion of the city that's completely wiped out, then there's a portion that's destroyed, and then on the very outskirts there are buildings that managed to still survive. That's what they're deciding to do with this game, and I guess that's what Raccoon City looks like. And granted, I believe that the nuke that hit Raccoon City wasn't actually a actual nuke. It was some type of bomb. I don't remember exactly what it was, but yeah, it was some kind of bomb. It wasn't really a nuke, but we call it a nuke because it looked like a nuke. It created a mushroom cloud and all of that. But anyways, back to what we were talking about, Grace. Yeah, she'll be the unexperienced player, and I think we'll have Leon being the experienced player. And I just don't, the trailer didn't allude or show anything like hard evidence that Leon is in the game or any legacy characters at that fact, but there were there was a scene where you hear a couple voices and people keep saying like different stuff. Some people say, "Oh, that's Leon, that's Ada, that's Jill, that's Chris, that's Carlos," because one of the only voice in there that I heard that sounded familiar was there was a guy who said a line. I think it was like, "Have you seen the shit I've seen?" And it did sort of sound like Carlos. I really doubt it, and I don't think any of those voices were any of the characters that we know. I think they might be new characters. I could be wrong. Who knows? Nobody will know until the game comes out and we experience it. But I just don't think they didn't sound, and none of them sounded like the actual Legacy characters. But some people are claiming that they were. But I do believe that there will be a Legacy character in this game at least, and I think it'll be Leon. Now, I would hope that, unlike Resident Evil 8, it's not a small section, and maybe rather than a small section that Chris had towards the end of the game, rather maybe we'll be switching between Grace and Leon if that's the case. And I'm someone that's honestly fine with Grace just being the only protagonist, as long as, you know, the story's good. I enjoy the game, it's fun. I don't have a problem with that. But I will say that, bit of a side rant, that I think it's great that they want to have new protagonists and move the series on, but I feel like they haven't wrapped up the existing Legacy character stories, like Leon, Jill, Claire, Leon, in a satisfying manner, and so many people still want to play as these characters, so why not make games with them and wrap their story up? And that doesn't necessarily mean you have to kill them off or anything like that. Just give them some sort of satisfying resolution to their character arcs that they've had over the many years, and then you can move on to new characters and introduce as many new characters as you want. But that's just a side little tangent. I wish they'd do that. Probably not going to do. Clearly, no, they're not doing that because they're already introducing a new protagonist. But this protagonist, unlike Ethan, there's a little bit more of a connection there because she is the daughter of a playable character from a past game in the series. So that helps out a lot. As we go further on into the trailer, we get a scene where her boss essentially asks her to investigate her mother's death. So Alyssa died 8 years ago, and it's a bit unclear, but it's kind of implying that Grace was maybe there with Alyssa. But I have another theory where I think in that scene we get flashes of Alyssa that make it seem like it's from the perspective of Grace. But I think it'd be cool that maybe if they brought back something from 7 with videotapes, what if Alyssa had a cameraman with her and he was recording her investigating this stuff? It makes sense because she's an investigative reporter, and as you play as Grace throughout the game, maybe you pick up these tapes and you get to see your mom and experience her story, or at least what was recorded on those tapes. Or maybe Grace was actually there with her mom and somehow survived. I don't know, but we'll see. And yeah, essentially the murders that are happening are somehow connected with the case that her mom was investigating, because there's some similar things going on with the missing people and dead bodies. And yeah, so she has to investigate her mom's death, and the trailer eventually cuts to her waking up, being captured, strapped to a bed, and I'd assume that's post the events of the discussion with her boss. I think that's where we'll be playing as her trying to escape wherever she's at. The trailer also shows a couple locations what look to be like a hospital, maybe like a hotel. Her mom was investigating, I think it was a place called the Renwood Hotel, where I think she died. So it also showed people walking in the street and businessmen in suits and stuff. So I'm having a feeling that wherever she's at isn't just the hotel or just one specific location. I think it's going to be another city, and you're going to go between the hotel, a hospital, the streets and stuff like that, and possibly just putting it out there, maybe we might witness another situation like at the beginning of RE3 with Jill and being amongst an outbreak. Yeah, maybe the reason why they keep showing people walking in the street or people in suits and just regular people in this trailer that were getting killed is maybe that Grace wakes up, but she wakes up in the city and there's going to be, it showed a woman walking, like a normal woman walking through like will look to be a hospital. So maybe we'll be in a situation where we're in the midst of an outbreak happening in wherever that location is, where people are getting infected, murdered, killed, and we meet people along the way, which will be different because usually we're in the aftermath of it already happening. Like it already happened and we just pulled up, you know? So it'd be interesting to be in it or during the initial outbreak and then progressing into the aftermath of it. Eventually, we also get introduced to some creepy dude sitting in a chair. We only get to see him from a shot from the back of him talking, and he's monologuing about how Grace is the chosen one. Or he says Ashcroft. We assume he's talking about Grace because Grace was captured and stuff like that. I'd assume everyone's thinking that he's talking about Grace. And I think the reason, obviously, for that is if you play the Outbreak games, characters were infected and they had to use something called the daylight vaccine, cure themselves. So whatever antibodies were in there to fight the T-virus or whatever, I guess her mom had in her, I think it's called the daylight vaccine. Whatever that maybe got passed on to her, and whatever antibodies or whatever she has in her DNA is really important to whatever this guy's trying to do. There's other scenes with like a cloaked figure, a dude wearing like a hooded jacket, and he's had like a hood on and his face is like messed up, and he was like murdering like a dude in one of the scenes with a bag. He's almost like a serial killer vibes, and I think it might be the same guy sitting in the chair because he looks like he's wearing a jacket and it looks like it could have that hood. So perhaps those two are one and the same, and I guess this guy's going to be the main villain in this game. Now, I've seen some crazy stuff out there where people are saying that he might be Spencer and stuff like that. I'm not going to speak on that because there's always crazy theories like that. We witnessed Spencer, not that it's impossible, but it's kind of out there because we witnessed Spencer as an old man die in Lost Nightmares RE5, but we'll see. There's also, you know, people doing the usual Lisa Trevor because there is a giant creature crawling off a ceiling in one of the scenes, and you know, it has chains and stuff, and it's like this mutated, you don't really get a really super good look at it because it's like dark, but you see this giant creature crawl, and a lot of people think that's Lisa Trevor. I don't know, you know, I feel like almost every game people try to say something similar. Like 7, I do remember, I think people saying that they thought Lisa Trevor was going to be in 7. Who knows? But if you played Umbrella Chronicles, she gets implied she's killed in the explosion from Wesker escaping. He pinned her down with a chandelier and dipped, and the mansion blew up. But we'll see. We'll see. You never know. There's always that 1% chance. I doubt it. I don't think it. I personally think that creature crawling, it'd be pretty messed up if it turns out that it's her mom, like her mom that she thought died at the hotel. What if she actually was experimented on and turned into a disfigured BOW pursuer type of enemy, and she's chasing you around the whole time, and eventually it's revealed that it is, and then you have to take her out? That'd be pretty sad, but it could go very well with the title of this game, which is Resident Evil Requiem. I think Requiem means to rest, so I think that would be pretty awesome if that's the case. And something that a friend pointed out to me that I didn't realize initially was at the end of the trailer, you hear the same chain thing from when the creature's crawling in that scene before at the end when it shows that creature with the teeth, and it looked like it had blonde hair and it had the same chain noise. So I guess whatever creature they showed at the end when they showed the title name that was screaming, that could also be that giant creature, and that creature had blonde hair, so yeah, it could actually be her mom. I think that's more plausible than Lisa Trevor, but it is what it is. Um, Back to the RPD thing though. Since we're going back to the RPD, I don't know about. I'm trying to remember. I've been talking so much. I would assume that if we're visiting stuff with RPD and just Raccoon City in general, that I feel like if we're going back there after so many years, it would only make sense to have a legacy character involved. And what better legacy character than Leon? Because I feel like the Raccoon City event ties most closely with him because it was his first day on the job, him being a rookie, and a lot of that's connected to his story and his PTSD, and a lot of him wanting things to be different, and kind of molding who he became later in like Resident Evil 4, and a lot of the cool stuff they introduced in RE4 Remake. So I think it'd be best if out of all the characters, he would be that secondary playable character or the second main protagonist. But we'll see. You know, so far nothing on that. So far everything's been leading that the only playable protagonist is Grace. Yeah, and I think that's pretty much wraps it up for the trailer there. Resident Evil Requiem. I'm so excited. I've been fiending for more news. Like, I know we just got the trailer, but it's been so long and it was such a great trailer. Oh, I forgot to mention, it comes out next February. So yeah, February 27th, 2026. So I mean, we still gotta wait a little bit, but it's closer than we think, which is awesome. But yeah, I've been really looking forward to some more news, and they did mention that there was going to be a playable demo for it at Gamescom, which is in August. They mentioned that at the end of the show, so maybe we'll get another trailer closer to that and some gameplay reveal. And yeah. I'm super excited. I hope you guys are excited. Let me know your theories down below and what you think play out in Resident Evil 9, Resident Evil Requiem. Yeah, those are my thoughts. Catch you guys in the next one.